hair on my head won't be displaced. उथले रहे तो डर का छुनाही, डर का छुनाही, नाही गहरे को संसार, नाही गहरे को संसार, उलट जाए तो, उलट जाए तो बालन बाका, वाह ये अजब रे तमाशा, नैया 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 मोरी रे, नीके नीके चाल, लागी 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 मोरी, नीके नीके चाल, लागी लागी। और सर लागे तो पर्वत बोझा, पर्वत बोझा, दौड़ लागे रे भारी, दौड़ लागे रे भारी, धन सतगुरु जी ने, धन सतगुरु जी ने राह बताई, ताकि मैं बलिहारी, नैया विश्वात्मके देवे येणे वाग्यज्ञे तोषाले तोषो निमजद्यावे पसाय दादने जे खडांची व्यंकटी सांडो तया सत्कर्मी रती वाढो भूता परस्परे पडो मैत्र जीवांचे दुरितांचे तिमिर जावो विश्व स्वधर्म सूर्य पाहो जो जे वांछिल तो तेला हो प्राणी जात वर्षत सकल मंगळी ईश्वर निष्ठांची मांडी आली अनवरत भूमंडळी भेटतो भूला सदा कल्पतरूंचे आरव चेतना चिंतामणींचे गाव बोलते जे अर्णव पियुषाचे चंद्रमेजे अलांछना मार्तंड जेता पहिला ते सर्वाही सदा सज्जन सोय रे हो तू किंबहुना सर्व सुखी पूर्ण होनी तिन्ही लोकी भजिजो आदि पुरुखी अखंडित आणि ग्रंथोपजीविये विशेषी लोकीये दृष्टादृष्ट विजये हो आवेजी येथ म्हणे श्री विश्वेश्वराओ हा होईल दान पसावो येणे वरे ज्ञान देवो सुखिया झाला सुखिया झाला सुखिया झाला
All right. Can we have a little bit more light at the back? It's one of, maybe these two are fine over here. Very nice. One more, see if you can get this one. Very nice. That's fine, yeah, that's good. All right. All right, so we have had an all-night practice session here. And I'm going to use this time for us to summarize some of the things we practiced together, some of the things we did together. And then I'd like you to help me to complete that. What are some of the other things that we learned tonight, practiced tonight, got in touch with tonight? So one of the things we're very grateful for is the presence of Shruti. I'm just going to turn the camera for a moment. Shruti, say hello. Shruti, you're Vishwa, what is it? Vishwanath. Vishwanath, Lord of the universe. Shruti, you're the Lord, you never told us you're Lord of the universe. So, and Shruti shared with us very powerful abhangs and songs. They're called the, what bhajans are they called from Kabir?
Nirguni bhajans.
The Nirguni bhajans from Kabir. And I think from the very beginning we were all mesmerized. And that's because you're not only singing as an artist, you're singing from your heart and soul. And that has been something that's all through the night we've had a chance to listen and join in and practice together. So that's really kept us awake and alert throughout the night. And also tonight we practiced different forms of meditation. One of the meditations we really emphasized tonight is breath meditation and the importance of the breath. And it turns out, I didn't actually know this, that actually Kabir really emphasized the breath and spoke a lot about the breath and how important the breath is. And it reminds me of one of my own very important teachers in my life who said that there were 3 Ks in his life. There's Kabir, Khalil Gibran, and Krishnamurti. And he said he learned a lot from these 3 Ks. So it's beautiful that we had the energy of Kabir here tonight. And we practiced breath meditation. We practiced connecting to our heart and invoking the violet flame, invoking the power of the violet flame. And of course, it was interspersed with plenty of spaciousness, so we had time to connect with each other. Some people use that time to take a short nap and then join us again, which is also fine. And so I think I want to actually open it up, and I want some of you to reflect on tonight and let those who are joining in on this call also get some benefit from our practice. What were some of the important things that we did tonight, whether it's reflecting on the previous year or looking ahead for the coming year? What are some of the important things as you reflect that you would like to remember and, practice more deeply? Anybody?
It was interesting that the story session on the terrace
Hmm.
and how we all kind of went on to focus on the flaws, and that kind of made us realize that it's okay to be flawed. And also in the session when we were chanting, humming and chanting, and all the hums were different, but they were still one.
Hmm.
And that raised the energy of, I guess the frequency was instantly raised.
Hmm.
And the high point was when we kind of, you showed us how to, just tune into the frequency that you want. Be a vibrational match to XYZ, whatever you choose to. And when we did we looked back on the year that was for each one of us. For me, I understood that okay, the highs I'm okay with, I'm good with. But the lows, now I'm much more okay with that. And I'm happy that they happened. Because that showed me the blessings, the hidden blessings that were there.
Right.
Made me aware of them and made me appreciate them much more. And those lows, the feelings with those lows simply dissolve just by acknowledging them that yes, this is what I learned from here.
Wow. So the very act of just acknowledging them,
yes,
helped you come to peace with that,
yes.
right? And that's actually so powerful. Something as simple as that, just acknowledging, just accepting, just sets us free. We don't realize how powerful something as simple as that can be. Thank you, Preeti. Anybody else would like to share anything that's alive in them from tonight's session?
I thoroughly enjoy people blessing each other in the group and saying that okay, go ahead with your vision for the year and with you. I think that's something that I think all of us in many ways lack is that is really a person to say yes, we're with you in this. And
Yes.
it was really nice, even though it was a group of more or less everyone is, meeting for the first time. But it was very interesting that, just by reinforcing, gently saying, okay, go forth, or speaking about your vision as though it's accomplished in the present tense. It's very interesting what it shifts in you.
Right. So something as simple as sharing your vision and people just acknowledging, appreciating and encouraging and holding that for you was something very healing and very beneficial for you. And if you don't always have to do it in a setting of sitting in a circle and all of that, just to remember to do this in our life. And so many of us don't realize how easily we can kill and trample upon people's dreams. They share, one poet said that, dreams are tender things, walk, how do they say? Tread softly, beautiful, tread softly. These are very delicate things, these tender things, and people put them out. So to be very conscious when someone is sharing, you may not believe in that, you may not agree with that, but just be mindful. This is something that is very important for this person. And to speak and share in a way that is encouraging and uplifting, as opposed to, we have something called active, destructive responding. Where someone shares a dream, you tell them, let me tell you why this is not going to work. And let me tell you why, let me do an enormous favor for you by telling you what a bad idea this is. But actually, it's okay to just connect with people and just, acknowledge people. You don't have to be the party pooper right away. Right? Listen first, connect with them, appreciate. Anybody else wants to say something?
For me, actually, what worked was the reflection session. So we got 30 minutes to reflect on 2018. Yeah, so first thing what I did was my personal side. What are my hits of 2018 personally? Like I did a lot of meditation in 2018. So 251 days to be precise from
really?
onwards. So
251 days of meditation.
251 days of meditation. So I wrote that I've done.
Yeah.
Misses is that physical part, which is my vision going forward in 2019.
Yeah.
So that that is what vision I share with all of them. The intention was set to reduce my weight on the physical side. Professional side, I identified that I did a lot of stuff in professional. I kind of tied up with senior scientists, and I got into this waste plastic patented products. Professionally, I met a lot of senior people. Like I met chief minister, I met senior people from different companies, leadership level people. So that is one. Family side, I spent a lot of time with my family in 2018, and I need to enhance my family time more in 2019 along with my parents and family. So the reflection session went off very well for me, 30 minutes, and then transition from reflection of 2018 and meditation, meditating through that phase and entering into 2019 while chanting Om and doing meditation. It was a big shift of my thinking process, So this is first time I'm into a night vigil kind of, and spending entire evening or entire night for visualizing my 2019. And so it went off very well for me, in fact, and the blessings which we all do for each other. Every single moment or third moment, we bless each other. Infinite blessings is one which is working for. I'm part of Rigpa as well. So a lot of practices which I do, as I shared with you, Sunita, as well, a lot of practices which I do is shared by him. These practices is part of our Rigpa course as well. So Rigpa course is a 3-year, 3 months, 3 days program which we are doing with Nitya. So 2018 has went off well. There are some visions for 2019, so look forward 2019 with happy motives and happy feelings and a lot of blessings and a lot of thanks and gratitude to all of you.
Very nice. Tathastu.
Thank you so much.
Tathastu. And so it is. Thank you for sharing. So basically the power of intention, the power of reflection. These are some of the important things. And how simple, just in half an hour, he got such a lot of clarity. So just to take a little bit of time, we spend time on so many things. I really recommend even the people watching this that just take a little time, even today. Take an hour or so. Reflect half an hour on the year gone by. Spend another half an hour on the year coming up ahead. And what is that? Those who fail to plan to fail. It's a typical management quote, but actually quite true. Is you intend, decide what's important, give it your attention, give it your focus. The Buddha said yoniso manasikara. Yoniso manasikara means wise attention. Somebody asked the Buddha, what is the summary of your teachings? He said yoniso manasikara, wise attention. know where to give your attention. You know, when we were growing up, I think for most of us, the biggest idea was time management. Manage your time, manage your time. Then it struck them that actually time is not constant. Time is actually a function of energy. The more energetic you are, the more you can get done. If you're very energetic, you can get a lot done in less amount of time. And if you're quite distracted and unenergetic, then nothing much happens. So not only is time important, energy is important. So there was a shift from time management to energy management. And then there was another shift recently when they realized even more important than energy is attention management. Where is your attention going? Right? And this is how we're entering the realm of consciousness now. And you manage your attention wisely, and the rest of your life self-organizes itself around that. So you're no longer chasing reflections. You take care of the source. Like we said today, I come into vibrational alignment with, and we filled in the blanks. And what is that like? Right? So you manage attention, you manage intention, and everything else, energy, time, and all the rest of it, takes care of itself. It will completely fall into place. I'll share a little fun example from my life. 2008 actually. 2008, I made you write intentions or think of intentions. I wrote an intention. I just come back from being a monk. And I said, wouldn't it be fun to have a space of my own where I can just do sessions like this, we can meet together, we can have practices, we can do joy shops, workshops. Wouldn't it be great to have a space of my own? We even had a fun name for it. We called it Tara's Realm. Tara is the Tibetan goddess of compassion, and realm, of course, is realm. So Tara's Realm, we called it. So me and a couple of my friends. And we said, wouldn't it be fun to have that? And my mom was trying to sell her home, the house that she had for a while, and she wasn't having much success with it. And I gave her something called a switch word. Some of you know switch words. It's a one-word affirmation. And sometimes you combine a few of these words. So I made her write down that affirmation 108 times. And she would only do that to sell the house, otherwise she'd never write it down. But for selling the house, she wrote it down. And right away the next week, calls began coming. And the next thing we know, she sold the house for a much higher price than she actually expected to get. And the result of that was, she was going to buy a new place. Instead of buying one new place, she bought 2 new places. And one of them became this place that I would use for my sessions. And it was unbelievable. I mean, I had come from being a forest monk with zero money. And I had made that intention. I had no idea any of this would happen. But literally months later, I had a fancy 3-bedroom, very, very spacious apartment, which I think you were there for that. You've come to that one?
Many programs.
We had many things there, right? And I was using it for quite a while until I began traveling so much that I no longer use it anymore. But that made me realize just how powerful intention is. So don't think linear all the time, is the idea, right? So break the idea that you got to follow 100 steps before getting there. You just come into alignment with the way it already is. And the most important thing with this is be playful about it. Because playfulness is beautiful. Playfulness is the energy of openness and flexibility and not getting hung up. And you are much more in alignment when you're playful. And if you've ever done sports, you know this. When you're playing with friends, your game is amazing. But when you're playing the big match, then sometimes things can happen. Because you're so caught up in the result, you're so caught up in the outcome, that your experience goes down. There's a nice quote by Sri Ravi Shankar. He says that when desires are strong, actions become weak. And when desires are weak, actions become strong. Interesting. And this is the totally opposite of what the corporate world believes. The corporate world believes you've got to have strong desire to have strong action. But actually, the more stronger your desire, the more you're caught up in the outcome, the less you can actually function at an optimal level. So you've got to hold it lightly, not tightly. Hold the desire lightly, right? And then your actions become really strong. You still have desire, but you're holding it lightly. And so you get playful with that, and then eventually you even drop that, and you find that you're whole and complete. You want to say something, Anshul? From tonight? Anything?
The whole exercise of reflecting on the year gone by and what's yet to come, I think it's just given me a sense of direction. Because in previous years, like I used to just set some New Year resolutions just because it was a trend and not follow it, So, but now like there has been a shift in me. I can sense that, and now having a purpose and having a goal. I mean, I look forward to that's going to come.
Beautiful.
So thank you for that.
So beautiful. Let's all say how wonderful.
How
How
wonderful.
wonderful.
You seem to be ready.
Let the pain in.
The pain.
And the tree grows on both the sides. These are two things that I take away.
Yeah.
It's something that stays with me.
Yeah. Explain a bit more, because even the other group members were not there when we talked about that. What does it mean, the tree grows on both sides? What does it mean?
The tree, I cannot say that I just can be positive all the time. I can be negative at times. And when the analogy that he gave us was the tree. The tree cannot grow in the upward direction all the time and say that I will grow upwards, but it has to go downwards as well. The roots have to go deep in the dark, and that's when it can go up in the light. So, yeah, it goes in both directions. It's about us to just understand and realize and be aware that it's there, and not judge it in certain ways. So, and maybe something you can add to that.
No, that's beautiful what you summarized. It's basically, the idea is that we often have the idea that we have to be positive all the time, but you can't just pick up one end of the stick. You pick up one end of the stick, you pick up the other end. You go to a shop and say, I want a battery, but I only want a positive. I'm a positive person. I only want a positive battery. No negativity, please. Enough negativity in my life. And the guy says, I'm sorry, I don't have such a battery. It's only positive. You're going to get a little bit of negative with the positive. In fact, you're going to get exactly equal amount of negative with the positive.
It won't even work if it's only just one. Just one.
Preeti, you're saying this, it won't work.
You have a pendulum, right?
Yes.
For each and every decision you say, the pendulum says it.
Yes.
Yeah. So isn't it a bit contradictory to what Nitya is saying?
Uh-oh.
There are two sides to a.
The same.
Yeah, but there are two sides to the same coin. My pendulum does not always say yes to everything that I asked. It says no as well.
Yeah, but
It says no as well to something that I wanted to say yes to as well. So it may not be in my highest good, but I don't know that it is not in my highest good, right?
okay.
Right? And if I still go ahead and do it, let's say I discard that advice, I don't listen to that advice and go ahead and do it. Later on I kick myself.
Yeah.
It's happened many times. I kicked myself. I got the guidance, I got the foresight, and I still went ahead and did it. So how dumb am I? How stupid am I? What was that word?
Bombu.
Bombu.
So for those who are watching, bombu is a Japanese word which means foolish being. But these are special foolish beings who have understood that they're foolish. Most foolish beings don't think that. Most foolish beings think that they're never foolish. They're very smart beings. But it's a very wise being to realize that they're completely foolish. And when you have tried many different things, done many practices, come for many all-night sessions, done all the meditation and bhajan and pilgrimage, and still you find you're still stuck, that's when you have to have the humility to say, okay, I'm a foolish being. Despite knowing it all, nothing's really happening. And that's when grace can actually act. It's actually when you at some level give up completely. That also happened in my own practice. When I was a monk, for a long time there was this warrior attitude. Let's go and do this, let's achieve this. And I was a pretty austere monk and I was pushing the envelope, and I also became very, very serious, very stern. This is what happens when you're trying to achieve something. You become kind of heavy and stiff. And but there's only so much you can be, so long you can be stiff. So after about 3-4 years of being stiff, something in me just snapped and said, this is not happening. I tried my best to manipulate circumstances so that I could do what I believed I needed to do to achieve what I wanted to achieve. The best possible monastery, the best possible teachers, the best possible environment, the best possible everything. I even handmade my own meditation seat, so it's got to be perfect meditation seat, nothing should disturb me. So after doing all of that, and then I find that I'm becoming allergic to meditation. I literally can't do anything about it. And that's when you realize that you're a bombu. And then the funny thing is, when you finally realize you're a bombu, then life steps in. Right?
And then you call Amitabh Buddha.
Then Amitabh Buddha, I call Amitabh Buddha, please come. And many amazing things began happening. I began getting all kinds of interesting dreams and all kinds of interesting coincidences. And one thing led to the other. And the basic message I got is that you are not here to be anybody else. You're just here to be the way you are. I was trying too hard to be like my teachers or the Buddha and trying very hard to match that archetype. But it's not about matching any archetype. Each one has to be true to themselves. You're born with a certain archetype. You're here to represent something, right? So for me, it's about, can we approach this journey of life both playfully as well as with a sense of respect and a willingness to look deeply beyond the surface. But not only playful, that you kind of forget all of that, but not only so profound that you miss the humor of it all. So for me, that's what it's been about. It's about, can we share these teachings in a way and also practice these teachings in a light-hearted way. So one of the things, many of you know this, rule number 6. Do you all know rule number 6?
Yeah.
If you don't know rule number 6, you're in trouble. Because rule number 6 is a very important rule. So let's say it together. Rule number 6.
Rule number 6.
Don't take life
Don't take life
so seriously.
so seriously.
So when I first taught this, Preeti said, question. I said, what happened? What's the question? She said, why is it called rule number 6? What are the other rules? I said, Preeti, relax. He said, no, but I need to know what are the other rules. I said, Preeti, there are no other rules. There are no other rules? Then why is it called rule number 6? Said, don't take life so seriously. That's Preeti. That's Amazon Preeti. And that's Unicorn Preeti. We had 2 Preetis here today. Amazon Preeti.
It's not me.
Yeah,
To add on to that question.
go ahead.
Okay, then what if you want a guidance in the movement?
We're back to the pendulum.
What is a pendulum? So what will you do?
Very good question. See, for me, anything and everything I use as pendulum.
Okay.
Okay? Not necessary वो मेरा pendulum होना चाहिए. मेरे हाथ में घड़ी पहनी है.
You convert it into pendulum. अच्छा, okay. So you are using your inner guidance. Okay, I thought you were using your
No! The pendulum is connected to my higher self and my angels. Okay, my spiritual team. They are the ones using it to answer my question.
Yeah, but that is like an inner guidance, right?
Yeah, it's inner guidance.
Okay, you're using that pendulum, so like.
That's the hotline. That's the hotline.
Okay.
So what happens when you want to go to one restaurant and Bhupesh wants to go to another one? Then whose inner angels will pull the pendulum?
That we don't have dispute.
Okay. Yeah, he's given up on that long time. He's bomb with I have surrendered that.
I've given up on that.
You surrendered? Okay, you've given.
I've given up on that very much. ठीक है.
Bribe the angels.
All right. Anything else? Suman, would you want to share something from tonight?
I think everything all of them have covered, like from the start only like I felt there was very beautiful energy surround when she started singing. So I felt very powerful, strong, positive energies, and every time she sang I was like in a different zone altogether. And then all the intention work that we do, the violet
Flame.
meditation, the way we move forward, you know, there were more clarity. And the other one thing I wanted to mention, when you read that page from the book, I was reading one book, Untethered Soul.
Yes.
Yeah, I just completed it yesterday.
Michael
and it
Singer.
is- Yeah, it is also on the same line that who am I?
Yes.
Yeah, so you know, little synchronicities that happen that
Very
make
nice.
you feel beautiful. So I thoroughly enjoyed, like, this is also my first vigil, as he said. This is his first vigil, so I enjoyed a lot. So
How wonderful. You're one of the people who didn't take a nap in between, right?
I haven't.
Yeah.
Though I was feeling very sleepy. But you know.
At the right time, we made everyone play a game, so that woke, that
Exactly.
woke everybody up.
Yeah, I enjoyed the games as well. They were
That's great.
fun.
He was perfectly put.
Yeah.
All right. So as you can see, we're all sleep talking right now. So I feel all our intentions for tonight, thanks to Neha for having us in her home and being the guardian, guiding angel for us.
Very sweet.
And yes, beautiful. And all these beautiful diyas lit all over the house and the room for us. So my intention is that each one of us, just like Neha has been, she's created a space in which all of us could come and just be, and just be ourselves, and there was no great formality in it. There was a lot of ease and, freedom. So my wish for each one of us is that each one of us creates that atmosphere around us wherever we go. Right? And we, in our own way, we create a space where people can just be and don't have to prove themselves to us all the time. Because this is something about always, you have to prove that you're worthy. You have to prove that you're worthy of my attention, my time. But just giving the gift to people, just letting people be and letting yourself be. Right? So this is, to my mind, this is where the real magic happens. I have a nice word for it. It's called agendalessness. Agendalessness. Drop the agenda. One of my early programs, I think might have been the second program I ever did, maybe even the first. On the second day, I had a surprise for everybody. I asked everybody to leave everything in the room and to just wander out for 2 hours. Just wander out. Just go walking. Go walking anywhere. Go walking wherever your legs take you. Just wander out. But go in a special way. Go with agendalessness. Which means you have no agenda. Like normally when we go, I've got to go shopping, I've got to meet someone, I've got to go buy something, I've got to go get something done. But now go without an agenda and see what happens. When you have no agenda, see what happens. And people came back 2 hours later and you could see there was shine on their face. And it's probably one of the rare times in their life when they had just walked for 2 hours with no agenda. Not even with the agenda of exercising, because even that can be an agenda, right? And people had amazing experiences. They'd had amazing conversations. They'd had amazing moments of stillness. One person saw a bunch of kids and got them all ice cream. But not that he was planning, it just happened. It was just, somebody went to a shop and appreciated the shopkeeper. The shopkeeper was very happy, like nobody ever appreciates me. Like they had a conversation. So people came back with amazing stories. Until today, people remember the stories from that 2-hour session of just walk out, wander around, and come back. And so that's the magic of agendalessness. So while we can have, we talked about that lovely quote on that Airbnb, which said that it's in travel, it's when we get lost. It's when we lose our way that we find ourselves. So while I invite you all to have intentions for this year, I also invite you to have big spaces. Because allow some space for magic to happen. If you make it too tight and you start micromanaging and micro-planning, okay, by January I'll achieve this, by November I'll achieve this, then actually you're killing the magic. So keep it light, launch an intention. In fact, just one of the previous all-night morning sessions, I've been doing these half-an-hour morning sessions. And I said, have an intention, get clear about it, and then get silent for 5 minutes. Have an intention, get clear about it, get silent for 5 minutes. In other words, you're launching the intention and you're giving it space. Launching the intention, giving it space. It's like you're planting a seed and giving it space. Planting a seed and giving it space. And all the forces of nature now start working. And a much more poetic way to describe a seed, a seed we think of as a small little thing. But a more poetic way to describe a seed is a dream. A seed is a dream. So what happens when you put a seed into the soil is, many of us think the tree comes out of the seed, but that's not true. Tree does not come out of the seed. A lot of forces start cooperating with this dream to make that tree possible. That dream starts drawing in tiny little molecules of water, right? That attracts the water, that attracts more things, that leads to a root system coming out, that attracts more resources. And the next thing lots and lots of forces are coming together to manifest this dream of a tree. And embedded in that tree are many more dreams. So dreams within dreams within dreams, right? So in other words, I would say, again, attention and intention. In the Taoist tradition, in modern goal setting, they say, go 100%, give it your best, you can do this. It's like the typical motivational kind of pitch. But Lao Tzu said, never give more than 70%. What do you mean? Just give 70% effort. If you're trying too hard, it means you're too invested in it. Give 70% effort, which means leave room for magic, leave room for distraction, leave room for playfulness, leave room for meandering. And actually that's the magic, that's the place where the biggest innovations happen. This is the place where because you have your enough mind space to just think a little bit beyond the box. You're not constantly in your, sympathetic nervous system. You're in your parasympathetic nervous system, more spacious. And that's where the magic can happen. That's my wish for you as well. So while you can have intentions, hold them lightly, not tightly. And keep a lot of place, have more agenda-less time. Just sit with friends without an agenda. Be with yourself without an agenda. And then you'll hear, what Robert Adams was talking, showed these people this book. We're reading today from Robert Adams. Silence of the Heart. And he was saying exactly that, Just be with yourself. And teachers like this are telling us, it's not, the spiritual path is not this super complicated thing that you have to figure out. In just being with yourself, feeling the breath, feeling the emotions, feeling the thoughts coming and going, all that wisdom is already here. So I've definitely seen the more complicated the mind, those complicated systems have their place, because complicated mind need complicated systems. The more complex and convoluted your mind, the more complex and convoluted the system.
Then we give them the energy of the blessing of complexity.
The rest of them don't know that complexity. Yeah. What she's talking about, something we talked about in one of the sessions, where he said complexity is that there are lots of, you don't really understand, there's lots going on in your life, too many forces, too many people, too many motivations, pulled in different directions, and you just bless that complexity. It's all right, there's complexity here and I bless it. And the energy of blessings is taking care of this complexity. So in other words, I just want to summarize this by saying that we've got lots and lots and lots of help. You don't have to work it all out yourself. Preeti would say there are so many guardian angels, give us a job, give us something, please delegate something to us. No, I'm going to do it myself. I'm going to walk this path myself. I'm going to figure it out. Right? So we can just delegate and play with some of the things I've taught you tonight of, wouldn't it be fun if, or I'm coming into alignment with, or we didn't do the one that Preeti requested, that I'm making an unreasonable demand. That's a really cute one. I'm making an unreasonable demand. So the idea is that God gets tired of the normal prayers, right? Same old prayers, please help me lose weight, and please give me that that contract, and please, my son should get into that. Everybody wants to go to Harvard and IIT. And she said, God must be getting tired, millions and millions of same old boring prayers. So he said, no, I'm going to give God a change, and I'm going to make an unreasonable demand. So Preeti, make an unreasonable demand. Give us an example of an unreasonable demand.
Okay, and I said this before also, I'm making this again. An unreasonable demand is, I want a teleportation machine right here, right now. I